There are some basic principles of good dementia design that I would like you to all become familiar with. There are 10 of these principles, and they were created by Professor Mary Marshall. She's now Professor Emeritus Mary Marshall. She's from the University of Stirling in Scotland. This set of good design principles has become, if you like, accepted as the basic guidance for building and creating good dementia care environments. There's a lot being built on it. Now, I've actually given you the environmental assessment tool, which you can find in your handouts. It's the page that looks like that. There are about 13 pages to it. That's a tool that was created using these 10 principles. Professor Richard Fleming, who works at the University of Wollongong in Australia, has developed this tool after conducting an extensive literature search to see what evidence there was for each of these principles. And he was able to establish that there is good evidence for each of these principles. So this is what you might state called an evidence-based tool. And these are 10 evidence-based principles that we will explore in terms of what is ideal, what should we use as a goal, and how should we look at compare our own physical dementia care environments. Being safe and secure. How do we usually do that in dementia care? How do we create safe and secure environments?
Locked doors.
Locked doors, yeah.
Make sure the furniture is not overcrowded, there's enough room.
Okay. Enough room to move, yeah. Mobility space.
Emergency space is usually placed where they can see a lot of the area.
Okay. Visual access.
Clutter-free on the corridor and in the room.
A lot of
clutter, not like a lot of furniture or chairs on the wall or something. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And good footwear as well.
Good footwear.
Level floors.
Surface, floor surface, the floor coverings need to be suitable. Lighting. Okay. What size do we normally say is useful for a good dementia care environment?
Let's say 15 at max, I would like.
Yeah. Why is small size a basic principle, do you think?
Because small numbers are more manageable.
Manageable?
In that if you have a lot of people with a lot of challenging behaviors in one area, they're just going to agitate each other, and it's just going to, like you're saying, a hot house. Whereas if you have small numbers, you can give more attention to each individual a bit more than you would in a bigger environment. And then if they're also in a small environment, they get to know each other as well, and you can build a sense of community on top of all of that.
Right. Any other thoughts?
Maybe if it's too big, there's also a high chance of getting lost and wandering more, and more confusion it creates for them.
Yep.
So the smaller the environment, it's much easier for them to get used to it. And
So it might be simpler. Yeah.
More like a family than an institution type.
More like a family scale than an institutional scale.
Yeah, some people get intimidated if they think there's going to be, 40 people in the labour, even though they say, I don't want to go because it's, I don't want to be in that crowd. So it can be intimidating.
Okay. Could be too much to deal with.
Too much.
Yeah. Okay. So smaller size makes it more manageable psychologically for the person, as well as emotionally, as well as physically. Be simple and have good visual access. We've mentioned a couple of those things already. Being able to see well, to see where the toilet is, to see where the dining room is from your bedroom door, for instance, or being able from your bed, when you sit up on the side of your bed at night time, can you see the toilet? You have a think about that for the rooms in your place. Can the residents see the toilet from their bedside? When they sit up on the side of their bed in the middle of the night, can they see where the toilet is? It's pretty important, isn't it? Reduced unwarranted stimulation. What's some of the unwarranted or unneeded stimulation that might need to be reduced?
TV, kitchens and
Vacuum cleaners,
vacuuming as well. I have a resident, whenever they clean the vacuum the floor, he got so agitated. And yeah, he can hit people as well. If like, so that's what I try to explain to the clean and dry, like not to vacuum the floor during the meal time. It's absolutely a no. Some of them like they don't know it yet. They thought that we big on their job. I said that like they can't cope with the noise because it's too noisy.
yeah,
Like, before the meal he's fine, very pleasant, communicates, even though he's very severe dementia though. He makes sense when he communicates with you. As soon as the cleaner started to vacuum, he got so upset at it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a very good indication of the many different things. You've mentioned all of them there. Unwanted stimulation. So we want to reduce that. Highlighting important stimuli. What are some of the things that might be important to highlight?
toilet.
The toilet. Right. So we want people to know where the toilet is. So we might need to do what? To sign or
Coloured door, maybe.
coloured door different to the background. Yeah.
And maybe sometimes you can put the resident name on outside the door as well. To
Good.
relate to their room.
So we want them, that's an important stimulus, isn't it? An important sign. Good.
Because most of the time we found the resident asking about their room.
Yes.
And sometimes one of the residents, when we put her surname on there, then she can read and just enter in that room. So it's quite effective in that.
So she doesn't get lost.
Yeah.
we used to put a picture of a rose outside this lady's room so she'd know when the rose was her room.
Yeah.
But I think we can
put names and
What was the name, Rosemary?
some of those.
we can put a picture on outside the door. It's more effective, but we haven't done
It's
that.
an interesting question about are you allowed to put names up? You are in fact allowed to put names up if you have this,
They sign on a cell phone.
if you have the consent for that to happen. Yeah, or from their representative. Yeah. It's about a privacy issue. Yeah. Okay, the next one is to provide for planned walking. This is where the racetrack comes in, but I'm not advocating racetracks at all. I think what you do need is access to places even outside where you can walk and on different surfaces where you can enjoy that capacity to mobilise freely with appropriate support. And some places will even say, why do you need handrails? Yeah. If they need mobility support, they should be using a walker. So why do you need handrails? Because the handrails are an institutional sign, aren't they? So if they have mobility needs, they should be using the appropriate aid. They should not necessarily have the need for handrails. Interesting way to think about it, because it's an indication of an institutional environment. Because I don't know about you, but I don't have handrails at home. Not yet, anyway.
Disabled resident, they do not resident. Before they come to nursing homes, they do have things in place. Usually yes.
In the bathroom, they do
In the
mostly,
bathroom,
don't they?
and sometimes outside, just the passageway to the house.
Yeah, so it's a very good point. So some homes are actually getting more of these sorts of supports. Yeah, okay. It needs to be familiar. This is a basic principle. Familiar environment. Needs to look like home. Why do you think that's important for somebody with dementia, that it looks familiar?
Because the memory goes back to, to the past rather than more recent events, so they can connect with, things from their home from the past, sort of thing. That's what they used to have, sort of thing.
Why is that good for them?
makes them feel more comfortable or
Right.
that it's home-like.
Yeah.
And reduces confusion.
It creates pleasure and comfort and reduces confusion. Yeah.
And they don't get frightened as well.
They don't get
Frightened? Like,
frightened. Yeah.
There's
That's right.
less chance, I suppose, for them to say, well, this is not my home. But if it looks like their home, then they will automatically sort of identify with it.
Yeah. They're much more likely to feel calm and
That's
not
right.
confused, and not frightened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Provide opportunities for privacy and community. I think several of you have been saying that what's important is that they do have physical spaces to actually go to be on their own if necessary, if they want that. And those of you who are introverts will know just how much you need that private space on your own. Sometimes you just need to sit quietly on your own, or to go walk in the garden on your own, just to do something on your own. Whereas other extroverts seek out lots of company and they feel really good being around people for long periods of time. So we're very different in our needs, but we need both of those, for privacy and for community. Provide links to the community, because none of these aged care homes exist on their own, do they? They exist within a community. So how might you do that, create links to the community?
Encourage visitors come, friends, family, and also sometimes even from another house school or something, like library.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Involving different community groups. Good. And finally, needs to be domestic. How might you do that? How could you help your environment to be domestic?
Make it look less stark and less hospital-like.
So how could you do
White
that?
walls and
How would you do that?
corridors. Just, yeah.
Not so many white walls.
Yeah.
So a bit more colour.
Yes.
Starting is the normal day-to-day clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, no uniform.
No uniforms. Is that a good suggestion?
Do you all have uniforms a lot? Or just some do?
Rucksack is very true.
Yeah, that is true. They will send you back home.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you wear? Black pants and a top?
Black pants and like they got a short from the uniform shirt. Even you can't wear the old uniform like the restricted like 3-4 years ago.
Very strict.
Yeah.
Remind me of one resident.
Yeah, you get arrested if you wear the old uniform.
Yeah, you
They can send you home.
If you are
Right.
by yourself.
Remind me of one resident, she has dementia as well. Whenever I come to give her the medication, as soon as she sees me, she rejects the medication.
Red shirt.
She's like the red, I
Yes.
don't like the red t-shirt. She's the in charge. She wants me to take the medication.
Yes.
So, and when I wear jacket and like the uniform jacket, she's fine with me, like communicating, talking to me. But can't with
Isn't that
red
interesting?
t-shirt, no.
Yeah.
So long as you're wearing the uniform, she's not happy.
She knows that she's getting better. Like she's like I try to spend more time with her and make just casual conversation and come beside the medication time and other times as well. So she's
Okay.
gets better, but not all the time. When she's
Right.
in the bathroom, she's not gonna take any medication from the
Mm.
RN. You have to give it to the PCA and
Yeah.
hide it from outside. So that's
But she's okay with the blue tops though, like
Yeah.
even it's uniform.
Alright.
Like with the blue, like the PCA goes, like with the blue tops, we ending up sometime like giving to the PCA and watching from the door, like to supervise like please
Okay.
follow the medication because we don't want to put refuse all the time.
Yes.
Some medication are
Okay.
very important.
So the physical environment includes the uniforms, or whatever dress the staff have. Yeah.
Maybe they can go with some
How
kind
else
of-
could you create a domestic scale or domestic type of environment? What else would you have? What do you have at home that you could create?
Televisions, radios, things that
Okay.
you would look at home, movies, just
Yeah.
basic activities that you do in your house normally.
The normal equipment that
Cooking.
you might. Cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, like kitchen, common kitchen or something.
Yeah.
And not too many trolleys on the way, like, you know, to
Uh-huh.
look like it's hospital or aged care or this sort of thing.
Okay.
And more picture on the walls, more creative, rather than like simple, tidy.
It
Okay.
depends on personal reference. I think some people just like that, oh, that's why, you know, no photos or like no furniture. Yeah, it actually depends on.
It's quite personal preference. I suppose this is where there is public and private space within the dementia care environment, isn't there? You have your private room. But in the public areas, how would you create a domestic feel?
It's like home sort of environment.
Pictures
on the wall.
Fish tank,
Yeah.
pictures,
Cheers.
Lounge area,
lounge, yeah.
Cozy sort of areas.
newspapers.
Oh yeah, just newspapers around, yeah.
Museums.
Okay.
Good. Animals coming, like what they were saying.
Animals coming in, yeah.
Pets.
Yeah, they're part of the physical environment too, aren't they? The social environment too. Good. Okay. All right, so there's lots of opportunity there for us to think about, and for you to think about your own care environment. And one of the assessments will take you into thinking about that. So we'll get an opportunity to have a look at that as we go through today. We're just going to have a break for about a quarter of an hour, so have a cup of tea or coffee, and we'll come back in about 15 minutes.
But sometimes,
Do I give you a phone ounce?
no. But I think like